All right, guys, so at this point, you should have modeled your snowflake in your part studio and just renamed your part with your first and last name. The next step in this process is to assemble your snowflake into our class document. So you should have the class document shared with you, and you'll notice there are a bunch of different class assemblies down at the bottom. Just choose on the assembly tab that has, your class period on it. So if you're period 1, make sure you choose the period 1 tab, etc. This is just an example, so mine just says class assembly, but just make sure you're assembling it in the right place. So you'll notice that in the assembly tab, there's already a snowflake on here. That's just an example to show you guys what we're doing. And then you'll notice that there's this gray table. That's what we're going to call it, already in the assembly tab. This gray table represents the bed of the laser cutter. I know we're not, in school right now, but once we get to laser cutting, we'll talk a little bit more about what the bed of the laser cut is and what it means. But this just kind of outlines the area of our laser cutter. So we know that if we place all of our snowflakes within this table or bed, once we go to cut it, everything will fit properly. You'll also notice that there are mate connectors all placed on the table. So we've gone in and already put the mate connectors here. So when you fasten your snowflake to the table, you just choose one of the mate connectors and you'll know that it's in a perfect spot. So we need to insert our snowflake into this part studio or this assembly tab. If you try to insert something from the current document, you won't see your snowflake here. You might see other students' snowflakes, but not your own. You need to go and insert from another document, go to a document created by you, and click on, your snowflake design project. You may have something that says 9 changes since this last version or X amount of changes, and it might tell you to create a version. If yours says this, just click create a version and create it. You don't need to change the name or anything like that. That'll just make sure that your most updated snowflake is making it in. It's generating the preview, but I know that's where I created my snowflake, and there's my example. So I'm going to click Miss P example and drop my snowflake in and hit the green check. And now it's part of my assembly tab. Right now, my snowflake is kind of facing up, but eventually, when we laser cut these, they're going to be lying on a table or lying on the print bed. So I'm going to click on Miss P example, and I'm going to use my rotation handle to rotate it 90 degrees. So it's lying down, and now it's in the correct orientation. And now you guys should know how to do this from here. You're going to choose Fasten Mate. You're going to choose the bottom or back of your snowflake in the very middle. And a mate connector should have already been generated for you. And then you're going to look at the print bed from the top and choose one of the available mate connectors to fasten your snowflake to. So I'm going to choose this mate connector and hit the green check. And you'll notice that mine's a little bit off the table. If that happens to you guys and we need to kind of slide it down or move it down a little bit, you can always go back into your fasten mate and offset it like we've been doing before and kind of move it in whatever direction you need. So these mate connectors are just here to kind of help you locate things. But like I said, depending on how large everyone's snowflakes are, you might need to go in and offset them a little bit. All right. So now we're good in terms of the assembly. You'll also see in the class document that there are drawing tabs. So I'm going to click on this drawing tab here. And there are a few things already placed here. The only other step you need to do after you click and put your snowflake on the class assembly, I'm actually going to go in right now. Got to go back. Brought me to a new document, which is not what I wanted. Go to isometric view, look at it from the top. I'm going to go down to fasten to and move this in the Y direction. Let's see, 0.1, 0.15, 0.25. Generating. Onshape's working really hard right now. Okay, so now I know it's not off the table. So that's okay. Even if it lines up with the top of the table, it'll still work when we eventually laser cut it. Now, if you go to the drawing, you may see some other student snowflakes here, which is totally okay. At this point, when you click on your class's drawing, you shouldn't see your own. The only thing you need to do when you get to the drawing is update this workspace. So click the refresh. May take a little bit. And then you should see your snowflake here, outlined in red. This is the exact image or document we are going to use to laser cut this eventually in class. So make sure you don't forget to update the workspace so that your snowflake is laser cut.